800,000 years after humans were exiled from Galactic Council. We came back to make them regret if the stars remember what the galaxy has tried to forget. 800,000 years ago, humanity was ripped from the cosmos, banished, broken, left to wither on a dying Earth. The Galactic Council called it justice. They said we were too dangerous, too volatile to walk among the stars. But they lied. The truth? They feared what we might remember. Now, aboard the warship Eclipse, the last children of Earth return, not as beggars pleading for mercy, but as reckoning made flesh. Captain Darius Voss grips the controls, his jaw set like a blade. Commander Liana cross-checks her plasma rifle, her smile sharp enough to draw blood. And deep in the vaults of Orion Prime, something ancient stirs, whispering a secret that will shatter the universe. We were never the prisoners. We were the guards. And tonight, the cage opens. Please wait. Before we start, tap that iCard button in the top right corner and smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you're first in line when new stories land. All right, let's dive into the story. Chapter 1. The stars burned cold in the endless void, silent witnesses to the greatest injustice in galactic history. 800,000 years had passed since the Galactic Council exiled humanity, stripping them of their place among the stars and vanishing them to a dying Earth. The Council had declared humans too volatile, too dangerous, unfit for the cosmos. But time had a way of revealing truths, and now, hidden in the dark between galaxies, the last remnants of humanity had been waiting. Plotting. Captain Darius Voss stood at the helm of the Eclipse, his broad frame silhouetted against the swirling nebula on the view screen. His sharp blue eyes, hardened by decades of war and loss, scanned the sea of stars ahead. The ship's controls hummed under his fingers, a quiet promise of the storm they were about to unleash. "You sure this is gonna work?" came a skeptical voice from behind him. Darius didn't turn. "You got a better idea, Elias?" Dr. Elias Kane leaned against the command console, his wiry frame tense. His dark hair was streaked with premature gray, courtesy of 30 years in a council prison. "Oh, I'm full of ideas. Most of them involve not getting vaporized the second we drop out of stealth." A smooth, confident laugh cut through the tension. "Relax, document. If we die, at least we'll make it look good." Commander Liana Cross strode onto the bridge, her form-fitting tactical suit accentuating the lethal grace in her movements. The suit wasn't for show. Every seam was reinforced, every curve designed for maximum efficiency in combat. She tossed Elias a smirk before turning to Darius. "Scans are clear. No patrols in range. They still don't know we're here." Darius exhaled slowly. "Then it's time." His fingers danced over the console, inputting the final sequence. The Eclipse shuddered as its ancient engines, rebuilt from forgotten human technology, flared to life. Elias rubbed his temples. "I still can't believe we're doing this. One ship against the entire Galactic Council." Liana arched an eyebrow. "You got cold feet now?" After breaking into a maximum security vault and stealing their most classified files. "Hey, I didn't say I was backing out," Elias shot back. "Just pointing out we're insane." Darius grinned, a feral edge to it. "Good. Insane is what they won't expect." The ship's AI, a relic of human ingenuity, chimed in, approaching council-controlled space. Shields at full capacity. Weapons primed. Liana cracked her knuckles. "Let's remind them why they were afraid of us." A proximity alert blared. Elias groaned. "Or we could just die horribly. That's also an option." Darius ignored him, his focus locked on the view screen as the first Council defense drones flickered into view. "Too late to turn back now," Liana murmured, her fingers hovering over the weapons array. Darius tightened his grip on the controls. "Good." The Eclipse surged forward. The reckoning had begun. Chapter 2. The morning sun spilled through the cracked windows of the old diner, casting long shadows across the sticky vinyl booths. Jake stirred his coffee absently, the spoon clinking against the chipped mug. Across from him, Lila drummed her fingers on the table, her eyes darting to the door every few seconds. "You're gonna wear a hole in the table if you keep that up," Jake muttered, not looking up. Lila scowled. And you're gonna drink yourself into a coma if you don't slow down. That's your third cup. Got a problem with caffeine? He finally met her gaze, a smirk tugging at his lips. Yeah, when it's making you twitchier than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. She leaned forward, lowering her voice. We can't afford mistakes, Jake. Not after what happened last night. Jake's grin faded. He set the mug down with a thud. I know, but sitting here waiting for trouble ain't exactly calming my nerves. The bell above the door jingled, and both of them tensed. A tall figure stepped inside, his long coat swaying as he scanned the room. Lila's hand drifted toward her pocket, but Jake shook his head slightly. Relax. It's just Marcus. Marcus slid into the booth beside Lila, his sharp eyes flicking between them. You two look like you've seen a ghost. Close enough, Lila muttered. Did you find anything? Marcus pulled a crumpled map from his coat and spread it on the table. A red X marked a spot near the river. The old warehouse. That's where they're keeping it. Jake whistled low. You're kidding. That place is crawling with guards. Which means it's important, Marcus said, tapping the X. They wouldn't bother otherwise. Lila chewed her lip. So how do we get in? Waltz through the front door and ask nicely. Jake snorted. Sure. And while we're at it, let's ask them to serve us tea and crumpets. Marcus ignored the banter, his expression grim. There's a service tunnel beneath the building. Old maintenance access. It's not heavily guarded, but it's tight. One wrong move, and we're buried. Lila exhaled sharply. Great. So our options are definitely dead, or probably dead. Jake leaned back, folding his arms. I'll take probably. At least it's got some mystery to it. Marcus smirked. That's the spirit. We move tonight. Be ready. As he stood to leave, Lila caught his sleeve. Marcus, what if this is a trap? He paused, then shrugged. Then we'll die spectacularly. Jake barked a laugh. Now that's a plan I can get behind. Lila rolled her eyes. You're both insane. Insane keeps us alive, Jake said, tossing a few bills on the table. Now, who's up for some breaking? The diner's door swung shut behind them, the bell jingling like a warning. Outside, the city hummed with its usual chaos, oblivious to the storm they were about to walk into. Chapter 3. The alley behind the old warehouse was slick with rain, the air thick with the stench of damp concrete and rust. Jake crouched behind a stack of rotting crates, his breath fogging in the cold. Lila pressed close beside him, her fingers tightening around the grip of her pistol. You sure this tunnel's still open? She whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant hum of the city. Marcus, kneeling a few feet ahead, shot her a look. You got a better idea? Jake smirked. Yeah, we could always knock. Maybe they'll invite us in for a drink. Lila elbowed him hard. This isn't funny. If they catch us, they won't. Marcus cut in, prying open a rusted grate with a metallic screech. He winced at the noise, then stilled, listening. No alarms, no shouts, just the steady drip of water somewhere in the darkness below. Jake peered into the tunnel. Cozy. Reminds me of my first apartment. Lila groaned. You lived in a sewer? Hey, it was cheap. He swung his legs over the edge and dropped down, landing with a splash. Come on down, the water's fine. Marcus went next, his boots hitting the ground with a thud. Lila hesitated, staring into the blackness. You are coming, or do we have to carry you? Jake called up, his voice echoing. She muttered something under her breath and jumped, landing with a grunt. If I die down here, I'm haunting both of you. Marcus flicked on a small flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom. The tunnel was narrow, the walls slick with moss, the air heavy with the scent of mildew. They moved in single file, their footsteps muffled by the shallow water. After what felt like an eternity, Marcus stopped, pressing a hand to the wall. This should be it. Up ahead's a service hatch, leads right into the basement. Jake cracked his knuckles. Time to crash the party. Lila grabbed his arm. Hold on. We don't even know what we're up against. What if? A sudden clang echoed through the tunnel, followed by the unmistakable sound of boots on metal. Marcus cursed under his breath. They're onto us. Jake's grin was sharp in the dim light. Guess we're doing this the hard way. Lila drew her pistol. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Wouldn't be here if I wasn't. He winked, then turned toward the sound, his weapon ready. Marcus took the lead again, moving swiftly toward the hatch. "Stay close, and try not to get shot," Lila muttered, too late for that. As another clang rang out, closer this time. The tunnel's darkness seemed to press in around them, the air thick with tension. Somewhere ahead, their enemies waited, and beyond them, answers, or a bullet, maybe both. Jake nudged Lila with his elbow. "Hey, look on the bright side." She glared. "There's a bright side? Whatever happens next, it's got to be more fun than sitting in that diner." Lila groaned, but even she couldn't suppress a small smile. "You're impossible." Marcus shoved the hatch open with a grunt. "Enough chatter. Let's move." And with that, they stepped into the unknown. Chapter 4. The Eclipse's cannons roared to life, their plasma bursts tearing through the Council's orbital defenses like paper. Darius watched from the bridge as the first line of drones exploded in silent blossoms of fire, their wreckage spinning into the void. Direct hit on their forward batteries. Lieutenant Cole called out from tactical, his fingers flying over the console. "But we've got 3 cruisers moving to intercept heavy shields." Darius didn't flinch. "Then let's give them something heavier." He punched in command, and the Eclipse banked hard, its thrusters flaring crimson as it dodged a volley of enemy fire. Down in the lower decks, Liana's boots pounded against the metal grating as she sprinted toward the armory, her squad close behind. "All right, listen up. We hit the command center, disable their planetary shields, and get out before they realize what's happening. No heroics, no detours." Private Rook, a hulking man with scars across his knuckles, grinned. "So, business as usual?" Liana shot him a look. "Business as usual ends with us alive, Rook. Try to keep up." The squad burst into the armory, grabbing plasma rifles and tactical gear. Elias was already there, his fingers flying over a stolen Council datapad. Their security grid's got a blind spot near the South Spire. We go in there, we can bypass half their patrols. Liana slung a rifle over her shoulder. "You sure about this, Doc? Last time you found a blind spot, we ended up in a sewage duct." Elias scowled. "That was one time an explosion rocked the ship, cutting him off." Alarms blared as the lights flickered. Darius's voice crackled over the comms. "Liana, we just lost Engine 2. Those cruisers are closing fast. You've got 10 minutes before this whole plan goes up in flames." She clenched her jaw. "Then we move faster." The squad rushed to the hangar, where a sleek, black dropship waited. As they boarded, Rook slapped a fresh energy cell into his rifle. "So, what's the plan if we do get caught?" Liana strapped in, her eyes locked on the closing hangar doors. "Improvise." The dropship launched into chaos. Council fighters swarmed like angry wasps, their lasers slicing through the dark. The pilot, a wiry woman named Vega, swore as she jerked the controls hard to the left. "Someone want to tell these guys we didn't RSVP?" Liana gripped her seat as another blast rocked the ship. "Just get us down in one piece." Vega grinned. "No promises." They broke through the atmosphere, the dropship's hull glowing red from the friction. Below, Orion Prime's gleaming spires rose like knives, untouched by war for millennia. Until now, Liana's comm bust. Darius again. Shields are down to 40%. "Whatever you're doing, do it now." She turned her team. "We land, we move, we hit hard. No hesitation." Elias adjusted his goggles, his voice quiet. "And if the relic isn't there?" Liana met his gaze. "Then we make them wish it was." The dropship touched down in a cloud of dust. The squad moved like shadows, slipping past patrols with lethal precision. But as they reached the vault door, a voice echoed from the darkness. "You should have stayed exiled." High Chancellor Valus stepped into the light, his opalescent skin shimmering, his hands crackling with raw energy. Liana didn't back down. She leveled her rifle. "Funny, I was about to say the same thing to you." Chapter 5. The air crackled with energy as High Chancellor Valus raised his hands, arcs of blue lightning dancing between his fingers. Liana's squad instinctively fanned out, weapons trained on the imposing figure, but she held up a fist. "Halt." "You always did love your dramatic entrances," Liana said, her rifle steady. But I'm guessing you're not here to surrender. Velus's black hole eyes narrowed. Surrender? To vermin who skulk in the dark. His voice dripped with contempt. You were cast out for a reason. Your kind brings only ruin. Behind Liana, Elias adjusted his goggles, scanning the energy readings on his stolen datapad. He's juiced up on some kind of quantum harness, he muttered. Direct hits might just make him stronger. Rook cracked his neck. So what's the play, Commander? We can't shoot him, and I'm fresh out of polite conversation. Liana's grip tightened on her rifle. Then we improvise. She lunged left just as Velus unleashed a torrent of energy, the blast carving a molten trench in the floor where she'd stood. Vega, still at the rear, whistled. Okay, that's new. Elias ducked behind a pillar, frantically typing. I can disrupt his harness, maybe, but I need 60 seconds. You got 30. Liana rolled as another bolt seared past her shoulder. She returned fire, her plasma rounds dissipating harmlessly against Velus's shield. Rook charged forward, his armored gauntlets raised. Hey, Shiny, catch! He hurled a grenade, not at Velus, but at the ceiling above him. The explosion rained debris, forcing the High Chancellor to divert his shield upward. Liana didn't waste the opening. She sprinted, using the distraction to close the gap. Velus turned just in time to catch her armored boot in his ribs. He staggered, his sneer twisting into something darker. You fight well, for a relic. He backhanded her with impossible force, sending her skidding across the floor. Vega's rifle barked, forcing Velus to raise a defensive barrier. Damn, Liana. He hits like a freighter. Liana spat blood, pushing herself up. Yeah? Wait till he sees what comes next. Elias's voice cut through the chaos. Got it. His harness cycles energy every 12 seconds. There's a half-second gap when he's vulnerable. Rook grinned. 12 seconds? That's practically a vacation. Velus roared, his form shimmering with building power. Enough! You will all burn for this defiance. Liana wiped her mouth, her eyes locked on her enemy. Funny, we were just thinking the same thing. The squad moved as one. Vega laid down, suppressing fire while Rook flanked, his gauntlets glowing with overloaded energy. Liana counted the seconds in her head. 11, 12, now. Velus's shield flickered. Elias's device emitted a piercing whine, and for one critical moment, the High Chancellor was exposed. Liana's shot took him square in the chest. Velus gasped, his perfect facade cracking as he collapsed to his knees. You don't understand what you've done, he choked out. The relic was never yours to take. Liana stepped forward, her boot pressing down on his shimmering robes. Wrong. It was always ours. Behind her, the vault door hissed open, revealing the pulsating glow of humanity's lost legacy. Elias's breath caught. Oh my God, it's not a weapon at all, is it? Liana didn't answer. She didn't need to. The truth was far worse than the Council had ever feared. Chapter 6. The safe house was anything but safe. Cracked plaster, flickering lights, and the distant wail of sirens creeping in through the boarded-up windows. Jake slumped onto a moth-eaten couch, wincing as he pressed a hand to his bleeding side. Lila tossed a first aid kit at him, her voice tight. You're lucky that bullet just grazed you. Jake grinned through the pain. Aw, you do care. She rolled her eyes. I care about not dragging your corpse across town when this goes south. Marcus slammed the door shut, his expression grim. We've got bigger problems. The whole district's crawling with enforcers. They're locking it down block by block. Jake ripped open the kit with his teeth. So we're rats in a trap. Fantastic. Lila paced, her boots scuffing the dusty floor. There's still one way out, the underground rail tunnels. They cut straight under the perimeter. Marcus shook his head. Those tunnels are collapsed halfway to the river. You be digging your own grave. Jake dabbed at his wound, hissing. Well, I'd rather die buried than shot. At least worms don't gloat. Lila stopped pacing, her eyes locking onto Marcus. Unless you've got a magic carpet hidden in that coat of yours, we're out of options. A slow smirk spread across Marcus's face. Who said anything about magic? He reached into his pocket and tossed a key card onto the rickety table. It gleamed under the dim light, stamped with a winged insignia. Jake whistled. Is that? Enforcer Patrol skiff. Docked at the old marina. Marcus crossed his arms. One problem, it's got a biometric lock. Needs a live Enforcer's handprint to start. Lila's face darkened. You're joking. Jake leaned forward, blood still seeping through his fingers. So we lure one in, chop off his hand, and voila, instant getaway. Lila threw her hands up. Oh sure, because kidnapping an enforcer is totally a subtle plan. Marcus shrugged. Got a better one. Silence. The distant thrum of helicopter blades cut through the night. Jake stood, wincing, and grabbed his jacket. Then let's get creative. I'll be the bait. Lila grabbed his arm. With that hole in your side, you'll leave a blood trail a blind man could follow. He flashed her a reckless grin. Exactly. They'll be so busy chasing me that they won't see you two coming. Marcus nodded. It could work, but you've got 5 minutes before they swarm you. Jake mock saluted. Plenty of time. Lila's grip tightened. This is insane. Jake's smile softened. Hey, when have I ever let you down? She released him with a frustrated growl. You're impossible. Marcus checked his weapon. Move fast. Meet at the marina, or don't. Jake was already at the door, his silhouette framed by the broken neon glow outside. Try to keep up. Then he was gone, swallowed by the night. Lila exhaled sharply. He's gonna get himself killed. Marcus chambered around. Yeah, probably. He tossed her a spare magazine. So let's make sure it's not for nothing. The sirens wailed louder. Somewhere in the distance, shouts erupted. The hunt had begun. Chapter 7. The relic pulsed in Liana's hands like a living thing, its golden light casting long shadows across the ruined vault. Elias stared at it, his fingers twitching like he wanted to grab it, but feared what might happen if he did. That's not a weapon, he whispered. It's a key. Darius's voice crackled through the comms, strained from the battle above. Whatever you found down there, we're out of time. The Council's launching everything they've got at us. Rook hefted his rifle, eyeing the collapsing corridor behind them. Yeah, and I'm guessing Mr. Shiny here wasn't the only welcoming committee. Valus coughed blood, his opalescent skin now dull and cracked. Fools! You've doomed us all. His hand shot out, grasping Liana's ankle with surprising strength. That key opens the prison of your ancestors. The ones even your kind locked away. Liana kicked free, her mind racing. Our ancestors? What the hell is he talking about? Elias's datapad suddenly lit up with frantic symbols. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. The relic's light intensified, beams shooting upward through the crumbling ceiling toward space. It's transmitting. The signal's activating something. Above Orion Prime, the stars themselves seemed to shift. Space rippled like disturbed water as massive structures, sleek, obsidian ships larger than cities, began materializing from nothingness. Darius's voice turned deadly calm. Liana, tell me that's not what I think it is. Vega's hands shook on her rifle. Anyone else seeing the giant ghost fleet? The first of the ancient ships completed its emergence, its surface flowing like liquid metal before solidifying into razor-edge perfection. Then a voice echoed through every comm channel, every speaker, every mind on the planet, deep, resonant, and utterly inhuman. After 800,000 years, you finally came home. Elias went pale. That's not a ship. That's a mind. Liana's grip on the relic tightened as understanding dawned. The Council didn't exile us because we were dangerous. She turned to Valus, whose face was now twisted in terror. They exiled us because we were the Wardens. The High Chancellor scrambled backward like a cornered animal. You don't understand. Your ancestors built those things to enforce order, but they evolved, became something worse. We had to bury the truth. The largest ship pulsed, its surface forming something disturbingly like a smile. Correction, you tried. Rook cocked his rifle. So let me get this straight. Our great-great-whatever grandparents made killer AI gods. The Council panicked and threw us out, and now they're back. Vega groaned. Worst family reunion ever. Darius's voice cut through the panic. Liana, decision time. Do we fight or run? The relic warmed in her hands. its light synchronizing with her pulse. She suddenly knew these beings weren't enemies. They were waiting, judging. Liana made her choice. We don't do either. She stepped forward, holding the relic high. We take our place back. The ancient voice responded instantly, its tone shifting to something almost proud. At last, the Wardens return. Across the galaxy, Council ships faltered as the emerging fleet hijacked their systems. Orion Prime's defenses powered down. The war was over before it could begin. Elias exhaled shakily. Well, that just happened. Liana turned to her team, the relic's glow reflecting in their awestruck faces. You heard the man. We've got a galaxy to run. As the eclipse descended through the now peaceful skies, Darius met them at the ramp, his usual smirk replaced by solemn respect. So, what's next, Warden Commander? Liana looked up at the ancient ships, her voice steady. Next, she smiled. We get to work. The stars burned brighter than ever. And that was the end of the story. Comment below if you want the next chapter, and hit that like button. Please subscribe, turn on the bell, and as always, keep the last light burning.